All right, guys, it's time for the new updated tier list in Spongebob Tower Defense. So let's go rank all of these new towers and, of course, re-rank the old ones. Let's get into it. But before we do, make sure you guys use my supporter code. It's in the shop here under Support a Starfish. Use code BLAM, and you have to apply it. I think every week it expires, but you guys should go use that real quick. It would really help me out every time you make a purchase. It helps me get a little bit extra, and it doesn't cost you anything. All right, let's hop into a match and let's start the rankings. All right, first up, guys, let's rank this guy right here. I don't really want to talk about it. I'm just going to put him down, and he's not going on the list because this list is for only pro units. And this guy, he's cool. Look at his effects, but let's just say he's not pro. So we're just going to skip him on the list. All right, let's get back to the tier list. All right, here we go, guys. So here's our tier list. Let's go on over here to presentation mode and let's start cooking. So don't look at what I'm listening to, guys. Definitely. Anyways, here we go. So let's start it off with a baseline, right? So what's our baseline going to be? And that is going to be Gary Booty. All right, I'm putting Gary Booty into the B tier. Now you may be like, bro, why is he in the B tier? Why, bro? Well, he does about 100 million damage. And I'm about to show you why. Let's place down this guy right here. Wow, 83 million damage. Full AoE. Wow, so he's basically Gary Booty, but full AoE. Holy frick, dude, that's busted OP. And he's easier to get, probably. I don't know. So I'm gonna rank the new guy in front of him, right? So this is gonna be kind of our marker. Everything above Gary Booty and him is good. Everything below is probably no longer meta. All right, let's move on to some of the pets because pets hasn't really changed a whole lot. There is currently one pet in the game that stands above the rest, Snail Fail. Now he's actually very easy to get. You just got to get levels in the game, which you can farm AFK. So he's pretty easy to get, and he's going to go into the S tier. This guy's actually freaking good and highly recommended that everybody and their mom gets him. He has 3 placement when every other prismatic has 2. Next up, we have the first ever prismatic pet in the game, Spatula. Now, why is he in the D tier? The reason is he has a very high trading value, and that means he's not very practical for actual gameplay. Now, he's technically basically just as good as the rest of the prismatic pets. He's just way harder to get. All right, next up, we have the Clam, and Clam is going into the C tier. Honestly, I might even move him lower. The only reason is he's basically free. He's very easy to get in the index. Now, if you want to 5-star him, it's very impossible to do because you're going to have to make 25 accounts. That's crazy. And of course, his shiny Wumbo form is not even able to be obtained yet. Next up, we have SPU. I'm putting SPU into the A tier because it has absolutely 0 trading value. Millions exist and anybody can get it. And the only unit pet that's not like the same whatever. Basically, he's the best pet besides Snailville, you know? And SPU is actually getting retired. I believe he's already retired by the time this video drops. So I'm going to put SPU in here. Now, don't worry about units and pets. I'm just going to leave the pets on the end because obviously pets, people care a little bit less about pets. But as far as pets go, that's still the rankings. Obviously, remember, SPU is getting retired, so I would hold on to them. Their value might go up depending on how often prismatic pets are dropped. All right, next up, we have some of the first ever prismatics to be dropped in the game. SquarePants is going into the D tier. Very high trading value and just not worth it. Snowbob, I'm dropping Snowbob to the D tier. Very high trading value, not worth it. Sticky Fins, C tier. Still a good unit, but the damage is so outclassed by the newer units like Gary Booty, etc. And he's pretty hard to superstar when you can basically get Gary Booty superstar for almost no trading value, or you could get Mud Crab and he's absolutely busted. All right. Next up, we have Blackjack. I'm going to put him in C tier. He is retired now, but he is still lower trading value and actually obtainable, so you can actually superstar him, which is what's going to get you the extra power. All right, Kenny the Cat is significantly better than a lot of these units. Now, Kenny the Cat is line AoE, so I am giving not Dream Booty, Gary Booty the nod. Okay, anyways, and of course, Mud Crab has the full AoE, but less damage, but again, I'd rather take full map AoE over crab line AoE. Ringmaster Krabs, he is stronger than Snow Sponge, he is stronger than Sticky Fins, and he's still obtainable. So I'm going to put him a little bit higher up. Same thing with Squidbob. They're better damage units than these, but they're kind of hard to get, and they're definitely not as good as Gary Booty. So unfortunately, they're just insanely hard to get, so I can't even recommend them compared to these new units. All right, next up we have the GOAT, guys. Spongebob. This guy is so easy to get, S tier, and he's actually the best prismatic in the game if you care about AoE. We'll talk about that in a second. All right, Sudbob. Technically a higher damage on paper, but in actual reality, he's doing less damage than Spongebob. So I'm gonna have to put him into the A tier. Same thing with Hans. They're both great units, but just not quite as good as the rest. All right, now we have 2 units left, and these are the big kahunas, the ones you have been waiting for. So let's go place them down and let's compare. Janet and Marty is a splash damage AoE unit, which is absolutely awesome. The reason is it's basically doing, if you can see how much it's doing right there. It's doing 415 billion. These stats aren't accurate, but it's only like less than 10% off. So this means Janet and Marty is just as good as Spongebob. I will say Spongebob, I'm not sure who's easier to get. However, it's tied with Spongebob, so we're putting them both in the S tier. All right, I don't know which one's easier to get though. You guys can comment down below. I know they're both kind of hard to get for most players. All right, here we go. Now the final unit, the Raffle unit. Only 240 of these will ever exist. So the question is it worth it? 4 billion single target, 3 billion multi-target. Wait a second here. This means this guy is better at bosses, however, and more DPS. However, I have tested it. On the final waves, there is a bunch of grouped enemies, and that is when this guy is going to get cooked. So this guy is not going to make it as far as Janet and Marty in infinite mode, even though his damage is a little bit higher. So keep that in mind. Having AoE is better than single target in this case. And remember, this guy is going to be basically impossible to superstar, and Janet and Marty are going to be very easy to superstar because I am 90% sure that all the potions will work on them. So if you want to max level him up, you can use the potion. You can't use max level up potions on him unless they changed it, which I'll make an update video on it if they do. So it's gonna be so much easier to get Janet and Marty, and this guy is going to be insanely hard to get. Obviously, it's gonna be a really cool trading unit, etc. But I can't really recommend it for gameplay. I mean, obviously he's still meta. Like, he's still S tier, don't get me wrong. He's still a really freaking good unit. It's just there's only 2. The thing is, you can't get him superstar. You just can't. Because you need 125 to get him superstar, and only 240 exist. You would have to have more than half of them in existence to superstar him, which is basically impossible because they announced that they're not letting potions work on him. So like, if you can't superstar him, that means his damage is like half as much. So in reality, in actual gameplay, Janet and Marty is doing double his damage because you can't get this guy superstars. It's just impossible until they make, unless they reverse their decision on making potions work on him. So technically speaking, he might have a higher damage, but he's worse AoE, and this superstar version I have is actually impossible to get. So hopefully that's enough of a rant. So technically speaking, that puts him right here. And to be perfectly honest, in actual gameplay, he might even be down low here because you can superstar Hans. It's hard, but you can. You can superstar Sudbob. And honestly, if you superstar Sudbob, that's way better than a non-5-star version of this. So I'm not even gonna lie. This guy is right here. Like, if you could superstar him, yeah, he's S tier, but that's impossible. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Don't forget to use my star code, supporter code BLAM, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.